You're listening to The Blind Chick, an Aftersight original podcast. We're telling you stories about strength, overcoming hurdles, and living experiences. We see who you really are. Blindness can be an adventure. Are you ready for the journey of a lifetime? We are. Yes, I know this is a weird way to start the show, but it doesn't matter because it's Penn's birthday. We're so excited that she is on staff here at Aftersight, and I'm so thankful for every minute that I get to spend with this amazing woman, and I know you guys do too. And you guys have shown that by pouring in and sending all these cards and wonderful gifts. Thank you so much. Here's a few that we've selected just to say thank you. It's not every year I make a lavish purchase for your birthday, but when I saw this card, I just had to get the envelope too. We hope that you have a wonderful birthday and birthday celebration. Cake and ice cream and coffee, be safe. Sandy, the dog, Jim, and Terry too. And this one from Kathy. We met at GFI Grand Junction. May life's simple pleasures be yours to enjoy. God bless. And we can't forget about this one from Linda. Dearest Penn, celebrating everything that makes you wonderful. Wishing you everything that makes you happy. Love always, Linda. Guys, thank you so much. We have one final birthday wish from Oksana, one of our dear guests in Russia.
Hey, Ben. Happy birthday to you. All the very best now and forever. And I don't know, like strong health, good wealth, joy, happiness, peace, and all the niceties that life can offer. Now, this is my wish to you, and I hope you'll spend this unique day, your personal new year, together with your family. Hugs, and talk later. Happy birthday.
So with all that said, Penn, thank you so much for your life and your ability to speak into people and show up for people when they need it most. Thank you for the advocacy that you provide and for the love and care and support that you give for the blind and low vision community. So on behalf of Aftersight, happy birthday, Penn.
So to me, all art should be able to be touched. That's just my thing. What amazed me with the class that I took with you is how you made the colors different textures. And I think for everybody, at least in the class that I was with you, John, that it did bring those colors to life. Because people say, oh, well, red is like hot. Think of something that's hot, and that's red. And I was like, well, that means like red is fearful, because I'm afraid to touch something hot. Or, well, blue is cold. Think of like an ice cube, like things like that, where you, because you actually give the colors texture, it kind of does make them burst, like, oh, that's what blue feels like, and it's different when it's next to red. And you were so creative in how you taught your class. And for those who needed it, they wore blindfolds so that they could really get in the in-depth with your class. How did you decide that blue is going to feel this way, red's going to feel this way, the different textures? Or was that just what you used in that class? Or are those textures you use in general?
Those are the textures I use for that class. And in my painting, I do things similar, but a little different. But in that class, though, I try to make it so that it makes a little more sense. So if you're trying to remember that, well, blue is kind of, it's watery, or yellow is,
yes,
it's like a bird. So, but in my studio, I use different mediums, different additives, but they have a lot of chemicals in them. So we don't use that for the class. So in the class, I try to use things where if it's somebody's first time painting with a blindfold, they've never had white cane training or anything, they end up getting paint in their mouth that are not going to get some weird chemicals or something, and they're not going to turn green or. But in my studio, and it changes over the years because I'm always trying to develop different ways to draw, different ways to paint, and so I just have shelves of different mediums and additives and stuff. So I'm always changing it. And like 5 years ago, I developed a different way to draw where I can draw with a thin tactile sort of line, but it dries immediately, which really sped up my painting because instead of having to wait for it to dry, it's a very minimal line, but it's all I need to be able to sketch something out. And holy moly, that really. So I'm always changing things. Like I'm always, So I'm just trying to find things that'll work a little better, and then, so color for me, like it. Well, and then I went through a big thing where I wanted the paintings, so when they were dry, to feel like anybody else's paintings. So that, and that was the thing, because I wanted my paintings and a sighted person's paintings to look the same once they were dry, because I would use the texture when I was working on it.
Like a blind person's painting,
Right. And then
that makes sense.
Later I thought, it's fun if it has the texture, afterwards. So, and I stopped kind of caring so much about that. And so I don't know, things have changed a lot over the years. And sometimes I'll try to make the colors have a texture so that you can feel it even when the paint's dry, and you go and you feel the painting. And sometimes I don't know. It just depends on the painting and what you're trying to say with it. Sorry for the long answer that doesn't really go anywhere.
No, it's true. And your paintings are so brilliant. The colors are so vibrant that even people who have low vision can make out your paintings. Which is really wonderful, because your colors are contrasty, so.
Thank you very much.
So I have a question about your technique, though. How do you paint somebody? And they are so realistic, John. So realistic.
Thank you.
How do you do that? Like when they're not sitting there for you to?
Oh man. Well, I have a couple. If it's a living celebrity, I usually fill their faces. So like with Tony Hawk, Jeff Bridges, anybody that's alive, if I can, I'll fill their faces. But with somebody like Einstein or Marilyn Monroe and somebody like that, that's not an option. But now though, with the technology that we have, and this is just amazing, and they've been working on it forever. Like it started in the 70s where they would have braillers, and they could print out like a little picture using a brailler, and but it would be a very Minecraft, like very blocky kind of picture.
Yes.
And then they started getting braillers that would use this sort of plasticky kind of dots, but then they could make lines with it, and that's really cool. But it's also very limited. And I started working, with the Dallas Museum of Art, and then we did a thing with the Met, and maybe like as long as like 15 years ago, and they started working on these different apps and stuff. It wasn't apps then; it was just these different programs. But now it's apps, and where you can take a photo and reduce it to lines. And if you have a touchscreen device, it can vibrate the lines so that if it's a thin line, it'll vibrate a little; thick line, it'll vibrate more. But also to turn it into sound. And I probably use the sound more now than anything. So if it's if you're touching it, or if you're using a cursor. If it's a pixel that's dark, it'll make a lower tone, and if it's a lighter pixel, it takes time. It's not like a sighted person who's on Instagram or TikTok, and they're just like swiping through, like 1,000 images an hour. It'll take you a while to look at the image to get an idea. But the more you use it, the better it gets. And used to, it was very few photos you could use, but now. They're just getting better and better, so that it's just incredible. And the software that we have for people with visual impairments, like the Seeing AI and the screen readers that we have, it's nuts. Like it's just getting better and better. And I mean, it's so exciting that the idea that this is the first time in history that visually impaired people they can't see a photo maybe, but they can understand a photograph, like a picture.
Yes.
And that just opens up. I mean, I use it for art, but let's say if you're a child and like if I was growing up without vision, back in the 80s, you would go into a mall and they have a map, of the mall that every sighted person will see, but a visually impaired person never sees that. They don't get the map.
Right.
But now though, you could hold up your phone and you could touch your phone and be able to feel the map or be able to hear it. And, and it would describe it to you. The Seeing AI would be able to tell you like, oh, you want to go to, so-and-so, then, take a ride, and it's just, I don't know.
Yeah. In that technology you're talking about, does it have a name or is it,
Yeah, well, part of it, it's just different apps, and I'll use different ones of them. And one of the ones that I use, which is one of the simplest, it's a screen reader called NVDA, and I started using it because it's open source and it's free. And in 2017, I became a cultural ambassador for the United States, and they sent me to Brazil, and Brazil doesn't have a whole lot of money, for anything. And so people with disabilities and stuff, it's just, it's difficult. So I was really learning in NVDA because it's free and anybody with a visual impairment can use it. So, and that has a feature where it'll tell you like the mouse, like the lightness and darkness of it. Oh, so even on software that's that simple, it has things like that. And then there's some other apps. So there's some that I'm app testing. What's it called? Cat Eyes for the Blind. CAT, but it stands for something. I don't know what it stands for. And it's crazy.
I like Cat Eyes for the Blind.
It sounds good. And they're great. It crashes my phone every time I use it. They're still working on it. So, but it does some really cool stuff. And so you can't get it yet. But then there's this other one that I can't remember what it's called. Oh my gosh, my brain. It's so terrible with names of stuff.
That's okay. That's okay.
But I'm a huge nerd, so anything that comes out on the App Store, I'm like, I want to check it out. So
you're the guinea pig. You're the guiney pig. Well, I know there's a photographer here in Colorado named Ted Taquichi, and he got a grant, and they came, and it's a 3D printer, but it's different because I do remember like those first like 3D printed photographs and stuff. Like there was even one of Eric Weimer. It was pretty archaic. Like I knew, like they said, oh, that's Eric's face. And I'm like, kinda. It's a male face. There's a nose on it and some eyes and some ears. But Ted's, this new technology he can take a photograph and then it's completely tactile, but it is so amazing because even like the shadows and the shading, now you can feel. So that would be interesting. If that would be a helpful, because it would almost be like you were touching the human face.
That's super exciting. I'm super excited that you said that. Way back when, I remember maybe 15, 18 years ago, I was doing a TV show in Holland, and where it was a live program. There was like an awards thing, and I guess they have light entertainment, and I was light entertainment. So they wanted me to paint one of the models that's famous there. I didn't know who she was, but the people in Holland knew who she was. And the only way that they could do it back then was to cast her face in plaster and send that plaster cast to me so I could feel it and start working on the painting here.
Interesting.
And then things changed.
They didn't send you the actual model?
I know, right? I know. It's the least they could have done. And then when I got there, I felt her face to make sure that I was, because in the cast her eyes were closed. So I think, I think when she opened them, she'd probably look this way. But then though, I had a massive 3D printer, but it was like it's like one of the archaic 3D printer, and I had a 3D camera that they could use, but it was all very archaic, and it would take forever for things to print out. And then they had like this touchscreen technology I was telling y'all about, and that's kind of what I use now, the sound and all. But man, after I get this afternoon, I'm gonna start looking up that 3D print stuff because that sounds amazing.
I'll connect you and Ted. I know you guys are. His name is Ted Taquichi, and he's a photographer out of Colorado who's blind. And I really think that you guys maybe could work together and do something cool.
Oh man,
I'm excited. I want to get in. We're running out of time. I got to get this question in. You and I have, from listening to one of your videos, we both see the picture before we do it. Okay. And like, it's rare for me to ever take a picture that I haven't seen it in my head before I do it. And I know exactly what it's going to look like. So going along with that, Penn occasionally takes me out on blind walks. And what I love about them is that when you walk around the whole neighborhood without seeing, you create this whole imaginary world. Okay. And so, and then you learn to function not only in the imaginary world, but of course the real world. And so when you're doing a painting, does that, it would be kind of a two-part, does that influence you because of the imaginary visual world versus the real world? And, what was the other part of that? Was the, start with that. So when you're going to do something, does that have any influence when you're creating something?
It does. It really does. And I'm just like you. I have the picture in mind that I want to do, and I'll even work out how I'm going to paint it that way, because I have to work on different layers so that one part will dry while I'm working on another. So, I can, so that it works the way that I need to paint. But one of the things that I noticed after losing my eyesight was that, well, when I was sighted, if I drew something and it looked like the thing or the person, then I thought that's a good drawing. But after losing my eyesight, I thought it needs to feel like that person, because I think everybody is living in an imaginary world. We just didn't realize it, or I didn't realize it. It's like, it's, because we think the eyes are like a camera. So what you're seeing, seeing is believing, you're seeing the truth, but you're not. It's your brain that's putting together the images. Your eyes are sending back a message, but it's the same as when you're dreaming and you're asleep. It's the same part of your brain that makes the images. And that's why when you're dreaming, it seems so real. It seems like you can wake up and, going, oh my goodness, like you had a monster attacking you or something, and it felt real, it seemed real. Because it's that same part of your brain that's putting, or if you're imagining something, it's that same part that's putting the images. And that part of your brain is like a computer. It doesn't care where the information's coming from, whether it's your dream or it's your eyes sending information or what. It's putting together the information the way it thinks it should, which is why, like, when you hear about a bank being robbed, and you'll have three people that saw the robber, and one person might say, oh, it was a tall redheaded person, and then another person saying, oh, it was a short dark-haired person. If the eyes actually work like cameras, everybody would see the exact same thing every time.
Wow,
but that's just not the way it works. I
love that analogy. Yeah.
So we're all living in this weird dream world, and we're all putting the world together, and the red that you're seeing may not be the red that the person right next to you is seeing. It's all different, but but it's also beautiful that way. And so whenever I paint, I try to use the colors that will show the emotion and the feelings that I have for that person or that event or that thing. So I try to paint as clearly as I can, realistically, so you can see what it is. But then have the emotions, at least how I felt about it, because I feel like that might be the truest sort of painting that I can do. And then somebody else can look at that and they go like, oh, I don't agree with that, but I see what he was feeling. Or something.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
know.
Oh no, that's
That's a great way to put that.
And because I can see it, and for the folks at home, he has two large paintings behind him. And you just made sense of the whole thing, because one's a portrait that's very close up and the other's a landscape in the background. And when you first are looking at him, because it's a painting, you go, oh yeah, that's a beautiful landscape, and that's a really cool portrait. And then you're sitting there going, wait, I've never seen anything like that, And so you're opening because of the way you're experiencing it, you're opening everybedy's mind to what you just explained, which is so cool.
Have you noticed, Moses, like you being a photographer, being an artist, I don't know. I'd rather somebody love a painting or hate a painting, but what the worst thing is if somebody doesn't feel anything when it comes to art. If they look at your artwork and they just go like, meh, okay. But, at least hate it, at least have it feeling.
Have some kind of, be afraid of it or something, right?
Yeah. Cry or want to burn it, either way.
Yeah, exactly. I remember you gave No Barriers, I want to say it was like 5 different canvases that you had done. And I know one of them was your guide dog, because that was the one that I kind of hoarded and made sure was in near my office. But how do people find, and I know you sell your work, you sell originals, you sell copies, but you also do so much more. You're a public speaker, you do classes. How do people find out more about you, and how do they contact you?
Oh, well, thank you. Really, just my last name, Bramblitt.com, or on Facebook. I have a page, just Bramblitt. And then I have a gallery called the Yellow Dog Art Bar.
Yes.
It's a cafe. And so if people go there, I'm all over that thing. And my guide dog, Zook, he is the yellow dog. So we try to make an inclusive space for people to come and make art and just be able to hang out in art. So if you're in the Denton area, come on by, and we're in Texas. So if you're not from Texas, we'll make sure that we put a big hat on you. We'll get you on a mechanical bull or something. We'll make sure you have a good time.
That's awesome.
And I got to close with, I know the burning question that everybody who's been listening has on their mind is, you actually painted Stevie Wonder in person, correct?
Oh, well, actually, not Stevie Wonder. I painted, oh my gosh. No, I haven't done Stevie Wonder, I don't think.
Oh.
I don't think.
Why do I feel like I've seen Stevie Wonder on you.
Well,
honestly,
maybe he's not Stevie Wonder, and I just thought he looked like Stevie Wonder. But I know that I remember the Marilyn Monroe one.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But
it's terrible. I've done so many paintings, I can't remember.
I can't even imagine.
I'm so sorry. That's so silly. But
Jeff Bridges, you mentioned Jeff Bridges.
Oh yeah, he was nice. He was really fun.
I know. And so you would have touched the dude's face.
Yeah, the first thing he did was start rolling around with my guide dog on the floor, which I thought, this is a nice guy, and he acts like the dude. Like I don't think he was acting in that movie, because it was just like the dude. I wish I'd asked him for his rug, because we were in I was actually helping him. I did the portrait, but I was helping him with I was doing some work for he's a musician as well. So I was doing some like CD artwork for him, and but that house burned down, so I wish I'd asked for that rug. Now with the fires. And I thought, if I'd had that rug, I could at least save the rug. But
next time.
Next time.
Well, it has been wonderful, and I'm slowly getting into painting, which I always wanted to do, but it's digital painting of old photographs. And
beautiful.
And so we got to have more conversations like this, because it's really helping me out.
Yeah. And John, I did want you to mention your book, and I did want to ask if it's in an Audible format.
Oh yeah, Shouting in the Dark.
Yes,
it isn't right now, and the publisher was bought out. But I'm in the midst of coming up with a new one, and because I feel like the publisher they dropped the ball on that. So
bummer. Okay, I
know,
saw it. And I couldn't find it on audio. So, I was like, maybe I'm not looking in the right direction. So
the publishing company, they got bought, and. But what I do is, if somebody with a visual impairment contacts me, I send them a digial version for free.
And the screen reader can read it. Okay, I'll do that. I'll send you an email. That would be great. Yeah. Well, John, like I said earlier, there's people from all over the world listening in all different kind of situations and points in their life. Is there anything you want to leave them with today?
not to be afraid to fail. Like honestly, be going out and trying stuff, just putting yourself out there. With artwork, you're constantly making the mistakes. You're constantly failing. You're constantly like making the wrong lines, colors. But with every stroke you make, with every paint stroke, you're changing things, and you're able to make the next stroke better from what you did. And I don't know, it changed my mentality for life, because if I do something and it works out right, then that's great. But if I do a paint stroke and it's not right, then I know I've learned from it, and the next stroke is better. And the next stroke is better. And in life, if I do that, whether I succeed right away or if I fail, I'm just getting closer to succeeding. So it just changed my whole feeling of what it's like to put yourself out there and to just try things, because, even if you fail, you're getting one step closer to succeeding.
That's right. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yep.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you,
thank
John.
you.
It's wonderful to reconnect with you, and let's not go quite so long next time between conversations.
Penn and Moses, thank you guys so much.
Oh,
you guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. And everybody out there, make sure you follow John Bramblitt at bramblitt.com. And he is on social media. And it's super easy to find John. He's if you just Google him, tons of stuff pop up. Watch the videos, and he's everywhere. He has had a lot of accolades given him, which he deserves, every single one of them. And again, thanks everybody out there for subscribing to The Blind Chick. Continue to do that, and share this episode of John's, and who knows, you may be, this episode might inspire, a new artist out there, or maybe one that was an artist and didn't feel that they could get back in, and this will be the inspiration that pushes them over the edge to try, even though they don't succeed, right? In the beginning, we very rarely do we try something the first time and it's perfect. And the fun is in trying. That's how we learn. And everybody out there, please find a way to be kind to yourselves this week, and find a way to be kind to somebody else. It's good for your soul.